You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. I am late. And I'm late because on Tuesdays I'm supposed to do a Political Tuesday. But here it is almost Wednesday, almost at midnight, and I haven't done a Political Tuesday yet. So to keep my promise to my clients and also to people who send me emails, please do Political Tuesday and keep us informed of what's going on, I've got to keep on doing it. So I cannot become lax. I've got to keep on doing the Political Tuesday. I was talking to someone online from the Philippines this evening. We were having we were on Facebook and we were using Messenger. And she was telling me that some of her family members are coming back to the United States. They lived in the United States for many, many years, and then they decided to move back to the Philippines. But under the new president, Duterte, they're having an issue. The country has become a very unsafe place. It's become a very unsafe place because freedom of speech has been lost. If the president does not like what you say, he locks you up. He gets rid of you. He destroys anything about you. He's trying to shut down television stations and news outlets like Rappler and ABS-CBN. He's trying to shut them down. So it's become a very dangerous situation where you've got a president who says if he doesn't like you, he's going to get rid of you. At the very beginning when he became president, I said, you've got to watch this individual, because an individual who talks so much about getting rid of drugs and everything is probably behind all the drugs. And that's what we're finding out, is that this president is bringing in a lot of individuals from China, because they've got agreements with China, but they're bringing in a lot of individuals from China who are smuggling drugs back and forth. So it's usually the individuals who shout the loudest about doing something good, who literally are the people who are doing something bad. So you've got a lot of individuals, especially in the press in the Philippines, that the freedom of the press is being attacked every single day. Now, I know Rappler because I've dealt with them several times before. They're a good news agency. In fact, if you want to know what's happening truthfully in the Philippines, you go to Rappler, because you've got independent people working there who are thinking about delivering the news and not playing the politics of the nation. So you've got a very good set of eyes over there and ears who are writing, but now they can no longer write because the president of the Philippines wants to shut them down. Now that's a dictatorship. That is not a democracy. And if the Filipino people do not understand what they've got at the moment, then they're not thinking with a full set of head. And that means that they are a scared people because they can't say anything because something bad can happen. So what does a nation do when they're under a dictatorship? We see the same thing happening in Venezuela, where an individual has that country by the throat, and it's threatening people and taking members of the press and stopping their freedom of reporting. It's amazing, isn't it? When you have dictatorships instead of democracies, things begin to fail very quickly. Individuals' rights begins to go away. In fact, the president of the Philippines has gotten away with murder. by accusing people of dealing in drugs and having them killed by his own law, by his own police. So the police of the Philippines can no longer be trusted, and those that support a president who is a dictatorship can no longer be trusted. There's a big problem in the Philippines. A country that used to be an ally of us is turning to be an angry nation. They're becoming a dictatorial nation. And why the American government has not spoken up, I do not know. But I think it's about time, because when you have individual rights being taken away from people, then you are literally at the hands of a dictator who will destroy people because he does not care about the people. Instead, he cares about lining his own pockets, his own wallets. And his daughter is just as bad. His daughter is a dictatorial type individual too. In fact, there's rumors that he's preparing her to become the next president. Unfortunately, you've got a government who has a dictator. So who says there will be elections next time? That's the question that Filipinos have to be asked. How much further is it going to go before they have no freedoms whatsoever? When you have a country that was designed after the Americans, after the United States government, even the Constitution is very similar to the American Constitution. However, the Constitution is shoved to the side because you've got a president who does not observe the Constitution. He does not support the Constitution. And so you have a president that's out of control, is a danger to its nation. And yet, he continues to threaten. He continues to lock up people. He continues to make deals on the side with China and other nations. But yet he does nothing for the Filipino people. But he does everything for himself and for all of his friends. I mean, he let go all of the politicians who were found to be criminals. They had stolen from the government. And he let them go. This is a country that is very risky. If you're even considering putting investment money into the Philippines, don't. If you're considering putting a call center or a business there, don't. If you're considering doing a mission there, don't. Just recently, a nun who had been there 30 years serving the poor was sent home by the president. That's how dictatorial he is. And right now he's going after the church. He's going after Christians. He's going after those who worship and praise God. So we have a president who has evil within him and is doing harm to the Filipino people. This is a nation who has been a friend to the United States in the past. But we have to take into consideration now of what's going on in his dictatorial type reign. Is he really a friend to the United States? That's the question that the United States government should be asking. Those of you who are in the Philippines, and if you're listening, you've got to make a decision between good and evil. If you choose evil, you're going to continue to lose your rights. In fact, you've probably lost most of your rights today. But those of you who choose right and good need to stand up. Your country has gone through a lot. If you go back through the history of Marcos and then all the other presidents combined, I was in the Philippines at the very time that Estrada was he was just about ready to be sworn in as president of the Philippines. And I remember I was sitting with a colonel of the Philippine Army. He was also the personal physician of the president. And he had a dinner party one evening, and of course there was a lot of people. The assistant mayor of Makati came over, and Manila came over. We had some priests there. We had some high-ranking senators there. And he invited me over for dinner, and we began talking. And at that very moment, even before Estrada had even taken the oath of office, that group were already saying, this is not going to work. Estrada is not going to work. This is going to end in a failure. So we have an issue. We have an issue of a nation, of the Philippines, who has had a lot of heartbreaks and a lot of criminal activity and a lot of corruption in politics and in government. Will it ever change? No, I doubt it will ever change. And the reason why is because once a country has become so corrupt, there is no way in hell that can ever become a nation that is believable, a nation that is sovereign, a nation that is trustworthy to be an ally of the United States. So, where does this leave us? Well, it leaves us with a nation that cannot be trusted at the moment. You've got civil individuals out there who are supporting this President Duterte, and they are evil themselves. Anyone who supports the President of the Philippines cannot be trusted in any way. Now, the American government has had a relationship with the Philippines for so many years, ever since back to the wars. And they've been good ally. They've been a good ally until it became a country where the politicians who came on board did not like the Americas anymore. They did not like the United States. They didn't like our foreign policies. Unfortunately, ever since the United States left the Philippines as a military strength, the Philippines has fallen further into corruption. And we don't see anything changing. When you do not see a country changing, there is an issue within the country and probably within the people. Change has to happen in order for us to take the nation seriously. When we continue to see corruption, when we continue to see a dictator threatening his very own people, if you say anything bad about me, I will take care of you. And this is not going to be pretty. You are going to be put in prison. You may be killed when you don't even expect it. Your voice or your freedom of speech is taken away. So we have a nation that cannot be taken seriously because it is not serious about its corruption within, or the corrupt politicians within. It's a sad thing to see. I have been going to the Philippines for many years, but I've decided that going to the Philippines is no longer a joy. Instead, it's become a risk. And if you are considering putting any money into the Philippines or investing in the Philippines, as an accountant and as a finance guy, I'm going to tell you, who looks at risk all the time, the Philippines is a big risk. Stay away from it. Until they change their president, it's going to get worse, especially for Americans and for foreign investment. It's just the truth about the fact when you're dealing with a dictatorship. And if you want a good example of that, look at Venezuela. It's become a mess. It's funny how we have a really good country to look at as an example of failure, to know exactly where the Philippines are going to go if they continue with this current president. Now, how does that affect Americans? Well, it affects us greatly because there are so many Filipino Americans here in the United States who still continue to have family back in the Philippines, and they continue to support those families. They have church members who are there on a mission. They have who are now threatened by a president who does not like Christianity or does not like God. So when you see these politicians in the Philippines standing next to Duterte, you know that that is a corrupt politician. Because if they are willing to attack Christianity, if they're willing to attack priests and threaten ministers, it's not a trustworthy state. So, in conclusion, after all this talk, the Philippines should be a risk, should be considered a risk. And for all the families out there here in the United States who have family members there, keep them in your prayers because they need them a lot. Prayer is the only way that we can keep your family safe. You can no longer trust the police. You can no longer trust politicians. You can no longer trust anybody who stands next to Duterte. That's it for tonight. That's my Political Tuesday. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT. If you have any questions, send me an email at mlodge@lodge-co.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.